All right, so to give my opening spiel, I'm Sammy. I work for Goosefoot Community Fund doing our events and our education. So I teach all of our business workshops. I run our marketing, social media, I run our events. So I sort of have my hands in a lot of pots. And then also I have a marketing business on the side as well. So I work with small businesses. I've been involved in a lot of different types of organizations over the years. And so when I was laying out the classes for this fall, I figured, why not do a holiday marketing specifically? Because we have a marketing 101 class in general, and that's already recorded and available on our YouTube channel. But holiday marketing is a little bit more specific. You're going to do things in a different way on a different timetable. And outside of the summer season, the holiday season is probably the busiest and, biggest income draw for businesses on Whidbey Island. So since it's coming up on the holidays, let's get talking about that. Usually with these webinars, I sort of have my spiel and I take questions by chat, but this one, I really wanted it to be more interactive. So, you talking to me and me giving advice back to you. So that's why we're in a Zoom meeting instead. So feel free to chime in at any time. This is what we're going to cover today. Let me drag myself down a little bit farther. Again, this is a collaborative discussion. So, I was hoping more people would be here so to talk with lots of people, but it's great talking to you as well. But we're going to focus today on identifying your audience. That's going to really drive, what avenues you use, how you talk to them, what kind of things you present. Some key tactics, especially for 2021, because while this year is not quite as everything is insane as last year was, everything is still really different this year, and it's going to impact a lot of holiday shoppers' habits. It's going to impact a lot of the way people approach shopping for the holidays, so it should impact how you approach marketing for the holidays. And then we're going to talk about, different avenues like print, newsletters, social media, in-store and online, and events. And then I'm going to kind of map out a timeline. So first up, obviously, is identifying your customers. Who are you talking to? What motivates them? And what's the best place and time to reach them? Again, you don't talk to everybody the same way. Different people have different needs, different wants. They focus on different things. A single mother of 4 kids is going to be driven by something very different than an older retired couple that are living very comfortably. They have different motivations. So identifying who that message is going to help it be more effective. One of the biggest mistakes I see amateurs at marketing make is they try to be all things to all people, and that's just not possible. It's obviously definitely okay to talk to multiple different kinds of people when you're outreach, but consider maybe developing those different audiences and having different messages targeted specifically to them, separating them. You think a lot of the people new to this think that's going to discourage people away from them if they're not being all inclusive, but it's actually just going to make your money go a lot farther, your time go a lot farther, because you're going to be more effective when you are speaking directly to the people you want to speak to rather than generally everybody you can think of. So I've got these questions up on screen, but I have a lot of people ask, I don't know the answers to these. Obviously, the best way to answer these questions is to look at your existing customer data if you have it. Who currently spends the most money with you? Who currently comes to your programs? Like you said, you have lots of programs coming up, but you've been doing lots of programs. So, who is currently there? And again, you can make multiple audiences where, new people you would like to reach, or maybe influencers. So people, not necessarily the people who will come to your programs and spend your money, but the people that will convince those people to do so. You can target different groups, but the more focused you get, the more effective your time and money is going to be. So luckily for us here in Island County, we have one of the coolest library systems in the entire state. I would actually argue in the entire country. Snow Isle Libraries has a lot of really cool resources. They're absolutely free to access as long as you have a library card. So I'm going to talk about some of those. So this page is really heavy and my face is kind of in the way. So I'm not expecting you to read all of it right now. I will be sending these slides out afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up the Snow Isle Library site. So let me stop sharing for a second, just because when I hit screen share, I just shared the PowerPoint rather than this whole screen. Let's see. Oops. I love when my control bar gets in the way of my typing. So if you've been to the Snow Isle Library site, they've redesigned it in the last year and a half, and I think it does make things a lot easier to find. So I'm going to go to online resources. Then over here under by subject, they have business and finance as its own category. So again, online resources, business and finance. And all of these resources we're going to talk about are on this page in alphabetical order. So you can kind of scroll down the page and read a little description about what it's about, or you're also just welcome to click into stuff and see what's useful for you. So first off, I'm going to look at ABI Inform. This is a very heavy lot of information, but I'll show you how to weed it down to get the information that's really helpful for us. So this has a ton of really in-depth reports, trade journals, things like that, industry information. So you can search for pretty much anything related to your business. So Whale Center might be a little too specific, but you probably could learn a lot similar if you look at like aquariums, because you have a lot of audience overlap. And look at that, aquarium is my first option as I start typing. So again, tons of really specific stuff. This is all very overwhelming to look at. So what I'm going to start using these sides categories to narrow it down. I want to get the quarterly reports. And then let's see. Sort of poking into these and seeing what's interesting. So I want to look at the industry reports rather than any specific business. Oh, this might still be too specific. The first time I've tried for something like this, usually I'll try something real general, like clothing or coffee shops or something. Try nonprofit.
Yeah, well, we do sell clothing and books and stuffed animals and all kinds of things in our gift store as well.
Okay, so let's try clothing then. Okay, yeah, these are far more like I want a lot of these things that are really long and descriptive, and they're not necessarily what we're looking for. Where does it go? I will admit I haven't been in this since the spring, so they've moved some things around. There we go. Just doing the industry report cleared up a bit. So clothing stores quarterly update. April 5th is probably the most recent we're going to find. Oh, wait, nope, they've got July 12th. So most recent one for clothing stores in general. And these Dun & Bradstreet reports, I think, are fantastic for learning a lot about audiences in a very small amount of time. So it gives you an overview of the industry, competitive landscape, personal income and fashion drives the demand for clothing. What kind of products do people use? Where do they shop for it on? Industry breakdown, obviously, women buy the majority of clothing. But these are really cool because flagship stores and well-known shopping areas, outlet stores do pretty good. Monitor sales per square footage. And clothing stores buy from independent manufacturers, though some have chains. So clothing is a little broad, but you can get sales and marketing is really what we're looking at here. It's going to vary depending on company strategy, but marketing should include TV, print, newspaper advertising, direct mail, catalogs, social media, in-store events, trunk shows, window displays. So these are all things that really drive the industry. Social media is huge for marketing and to show off, specifically new styles, announce sales, special offers, price markdowns or discounts are common. Customer service is incredibly important in high-end and designer clothes. So that really gives you a good narrow down focus on what people are looking for, what their demand is in that category. And then also, up here, you get some of this data of, gender, and there's age in here, and all kinds of important information. Now that I've narrowed it down a bit, I'm going to try nonprofit or aquarium one more time. But I think the only filter we're going to want to apply is industry report. Yeah, aquarium doesn't seem to be a broad enough industry to have that Dun & Bradstreet report. So that's a bummer, but you can kind of poke around and see what other companies are doing. Did you have a question? Sorry.
No, that's just really interesting. I didn't even know that was on the library.
Yeah, this is such a dense
regularly,
tool.
but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't used to know this was useful either. It was actually the librarians that showed me how to use it. And I was like, wow, look at that.
Cool.
You can get other activities, company summary. You can see what other aquariums are doing, other industries that are similar to yours. Like that. That's a little specific, but for anybody watching this later, you can look into anything you're doing, gift shops, clothing, food, any sort of thing like that. Just type it in. I would focus down on industry report in the document type, and then pull up those Dun & Bradstreet reports that are super helpful. So yeah, this was a little more narrowed than I normally want it to be. But so that's just one tool though. I'm going to go back to the library site, business and finance again. Next up, we're going to look at consumer reports. Aren't necessarily great for this. They're good for other stuff. If you're looking to buy anything, you can get really in-depth professional and user ratings on different products. Just wanted to call that out there. Foundation directory is great if you're working for a nonprofit that's looking for grants. We are going to look, next tool is the Gale Business Demographics Now tool. This is probably the one I use the most frequently whenever I'm working on developing a new project. This gives you demographic information for your area in pretty interesting detail. So again, this site is gigantic and I could have an entire workshop just dedicated to poking through it, but I'll try to stay focused so it doesn't get too overwhelming. If after the fact you're trying to do something again and you don't know how I got to where I was, like, feel free to send me an email and I'll happily tell you how to get through it again.
Thank you.
Yeah. First off, I clicked on demographics to get all of these different kinds of reports. But before I actually narrow in on reports, what I'm going to do is up here in the top right, there's this Geo Filter and it's default set to the entire US. That is not useful for the vast majority of you. Because very few of you are an entire US kind of company. Most of you guys are pretty local. So we can look at our geography list. They have a lot of different categories. You can do counties. So you could do Island County if you wanted to. You can do school districts. You can do zip codes. And you can also do multiple zip codes as well. So we're going to go to zip codes for now, just for this example. But let's see, we're going to go to zip codes, Washington, Island County, and then here's all the Island County zip codes. So we'll do Langley, Freeland, Clinton. And then if you wanted to, I'm sure a lot of your guys' customers aren't just Whidbey Island people. You probably tap in pretty well to like Seattle.
Yeah. So
let's go to King County and add. There's so many zip codes in King County. We'll do just the first Seattle one, but you can add as many or as few of these as you want. But just for this example, we'll just do these ones. So now we've got 4 different zip codes started. And we're going to leave it on comparison since we do have multiple locations. If I were doing just one, I would drop it down to summary. And then the reports are so big. Age by sex, basic demographics. These are really good if you're building like a business plan or an overall marketing plan. They're not necessarily super helpful for holiday marketing. So we're going to focus in on these consumer expenditure reports first. This is showing you where people spend their money. So you can see they have it broken down into apparel, auto, transportation. I think the comparison report is overall categories: convenience store, electronics, food and beverage, furnishings, healthcare, restaurant, utilities, and total comparison. So we'll look at the total comparison since none of these are perfect fits for your categories. And then we're going to hit run report. And it might take a minute to cycle this because it's running a lot of data. So you can see right here, it's got all of those locations I identified and their general data right at the top. So about this many households in the area. This is about how much the median household income is. This is how much their annual expenditures are. And then now here's where they spend money. So this is average for the entire year. So you said you guys sell books in the shop. This is how much people in those regions spend on books, not through book clubs, in a single year.
Wow.
Pretty decent amount of money, but it's got nothing on cash contributions to charities, churches, religious, education, political, and other organizations.
Oh,
That's in the
because
millions.
we're educational. We're
Exactly.
Profit.
Yep.
Wow.
So you can see, so yes, you have books, but people are spending a lot more money on the cash contributions. So that gives you a good thing to think about. Like, hey, I thought focusing on our books might be a good idea, but maybe we should just focus on donations.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see there's a huge list. It just keeps going.
That's
so you can scroll through it just to see, you know, what's pretty successful, what's not. I would say take this with a grain of salt. For example, up here near the top now, I have medical equipment for general use, and that's lower even than a lot of the other categories we're looking at. That doesn't mean people aren't spending money on that. I'm sure, you know, one person could easily spend $16,000 on some medical equipment. These numbers can be a little skewed because there aren't places on the island to buy medical equipment. And in Washington State, the numbers get reported where the sale took place. So if the store is physically located in the area and somebody walked into the store and spent the money on it, it would get reported in that category. Or with the way Washington State works, if they bought it online and had it shipped to their house, then it would get reported in that area as well. But if they, you know, say bought something in Seattle, it would get reported in Seattle, not on the island, even though they're bringing it back here.
So are these totals representative of the amount of people in that zip code that spent, say, let's just say new cars?
Yeah.
You know, 2 million and 2.6 million. So in whatever that county is, I don't know what's anyway, but that's
the first one
divided
is
about how many. We don't. Is it per person? Is it based on like per capita?
It's people in Clinton have spent $2 million on new cars, $2.6 million in 2019.
In Clinton's not that. That's very, very fascinating.
It is.
Huh.
So yeah, it's really interesting.
Personal care services, 2.4. Wow. Sorry, I'm all. Wow.
No, these numbers are fascinating. Like, even if it's not in your category.
Yeah.
Photo processing, rent, $12 million in rent. So, you know, you can really see what's in demand and what people are spending their money on. 5 million in insurance.
Yeah. That does surprise me because insurance is Very.
Definitely.
Oh, okay. So it tells you how many households it's based on.
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then here you can see underneath, it's got 2026 estimate. So you can see in the future, is this category estimated to go up or down or stay the same?
Mhm.
So it's good
Okay.
if you are deciding whether or not to add new categories, products, new avenues of focus, because then you can see, is this in demand? Cool, then we can go ahead and add it. Or, ooh, this is declining. Maybe we should think of something else.
Okay.
And this report is put together by Experian, the people, the credit people, so they know where
Mhm.
you're spending your money.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite reports. I genuinely enjoy the consumer expenditure reports for making a lot of decisions in business. If your category doesn't really fall into any of these, a good backup is the Simmons reports. Those are similar, though. I think instead of dollar amount, it just gives you a percentage of people in this area spend any amount of money on this category.
Okay.
So, but they do have a category like entertainment, leisure, and dining, which is very helpful for Whidbey Island.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I clicked it and then I clicked run report. It's going to process that huge chunk of data. And here we go. So again, starts off with the demographics. But this gives you a little bit more demographics of, household population density, average household size, female to male, median age, and housing occupied versus vacant. And so then now here's the categories, and basically 100 is the average for the nation. And if they're under that, so like 44, Clinton does not spend very much money on Mississippi Gulf Coast gambling, which makes sense. But on the other hand, a decent number of people in the area spend money at Indian Reservation casinos, because we have some of those pretty nearby.
Right.
So you can see, collectibles, live theater, concerts, movie attendance, what kind of movie genres they watch, sports they play, lottery, theme park. So, it shows you all those categories of, are people actually spending money? This one's pretty decent. Or are they not spending money? They're not really going to Universal Studios around here.
Interesting.
And again, there's a lot of categories of that. I think food is the one I the most frequently look at, just because we have a lot of restaurants in the area. But you can see, is this a category that people actually want to buy in? And again, take it with a grain of salt. Some of these are not big numbers because there's not an option around here. Like croissants aren't super high.
Yeah.
Liquid powdered baby formula is not that high. Not surprising. We don't have a ton of young families around here.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the young families that are here don't need it. So, but it at least gives you a starting place to know what people are interested in. The last one I'm going to show you in this tool, and then we'll move on, because again, I get very overwhelmed pretty quickly in here. We're going to look at the Mosaic household comparison report. So these reports are putting people into clusters based on age, spending habits, interests, things like that. And then it gives you a nice handy report about them. So you can see, again, split out between Clinton, Freeland, Langley, and Seattle. You can see the people who live in those areas, what categories they primarily fall into. It looks like Freeland is pretty, 36% are in this category they call golf carts and gourmets. We'll go ahead and click on that. Nicely, they have fixed this up since I first started teaching these classes. You used to have to go an entirely different part of the site to find these reports, but now you can just click on it right here. And it pulls up this nice PDF report that explains what they mean by these groups. Oh. So 36% of Freeland falls into this category. They give you a nice picture so you can kind of immediately get a snapshot in your brain of who they're talking about, with a nice little summary. Thriving retirees and empty nesters in a comfortable communities. They're tech novices. They like luxury living. They're highly educated, retired, financially savvy, and they love music. They're on the older end. 76 plus is the average age of the head of the household. Their household income is about $250,000, which is not shabby. They
Wow.
own their home. They don't really have kids at home, 1.7%. There's usually 2 people at home, and a lot of them live in multifamily units. That's not super applicable to here just because we don't have a ton of them. But the really good things for when you're marketing are right here. So the channel preference is this next box here. This is where they go to get their information. So the best way to reach them. TV is the first one. There's 54. So it's sort of the 4th to last one on the list. Radio is 0. So reaching these people through radio ads is not effective at all. The top highest ways to reach these people is emails. That's what this @ symbol is, or physical mail. So sending them an email or sending them a physical mailer is going to get you a lot farther than social media or text messages or TV or radio ads.
Oh.
Which is fascinating. We'll look at a Langley group later, basically complete opposite. Email isn't super high with them. This is more just demographic data on them if you need it. This middle line here is the US average, and every group is either below or above that. So again, this group is wealthier than average Americans. They don't have kids at home. This page just tells you how to read those charts, but this page is the really helpful one. It gives you actual text description of these people and gives them what they're interested in. So they put their time into raising families and working hard. They're ready to enjoy the finer things in life. They like restaurants, plays, classical concerts, and casinos. They have time and money for travel. They especially enjoy taking cruises and visiting friends. They golf, play tennis, swim around their house. They read books and newspapers, playing cards, and cooking for fun. They like to frequent malls and shop at reputable department stores, but they like their possessions to make a statement, and it's important for them to be well groomed. So it gives you a good picture in your brain of who these people are, what motivates them, what they want to do with their time and with their life. So I really like these reports when I'm putting together a profile for marketing so that I know, who are you and how do I appeal to you?
Wow.
And it's all free.
Oh.
So that's the Freeland one. I did promise we'll look at, Langley, for example, which I think is the third column. So I'm just sort of scanning with my eyes to see. Oh, there we go. Langley. 86% of Langley residents and 63% of Freeland is in this category called booming and consuming. And if you click on it, we'll get another nice report. And here we go. Similar age demographic, but very distinct differences. The household income is a lot lower than the last group we looked at, but they're still, sitting comfortably. Mm-hmm. Email is now much lower, but it's still fairly effective with these guys. Physical mail is the most effective way to reach them, which was reverse for the last group we looked at. And again, if we scroll down here, they look, they have more disposable income for travel and outdoor activities. They like to head to nearby parks and woodlands to bike and walk through the outdoor scenery. Great for you guys. Mm-hmm. They will enjoy long car trips, cruises. They own RVs for scenic vacations. They love culture and they'll drive to the city to attend events. They can afford to be materialistic, but they don't have the need for status recognition. They prefer to focus on the integrity of the brand and customer service when shopping. So, very different focus and needs than this other group we were looking at earlier. So I really like these reports. They're very helpful. And then you can see Seattle is just entirely different. Where's the most Seattle people? Our faces are in the way again. There we go. 71% are in this group called Urban Edge. So obviously Seattle is entirely different than Whidbey is.
I'm sure.
Immediately, completely different picture.
Mm-hmm.
25 to 30 age, head of household, 100 to 125,000 annual income. They rent their home. They do have kids at home. or they're a single person household. Channel preferences, entirely different. Best way to reach them is text and then email, TV, and then radio. Social media, surprisingly, with this group is not very effective. Down here, they care less about the residences. They care more about what's around it. They like to be on the cutting edge of culture and enjoy the energy only city life can bring. They head to plays, movies, and concerts. They like to read books and take continuing education courses. They look their best. They're pretty liberal. They're fashion forward, so they shop local a lot. They're likely to drive a long distance to find a new style to adopt. So they're willing to travel. They're more savvy and focused more on, they like to learn more about the brands rather than everything on mass media. So that's really good for, our small local groups. That, Seattle is a good group to target. They are looking for unique individual things, and Whidbey screams that for a lot of them, and they're willing to travel up this way. So what I will do often when I'm working on a project is I will actually print these reports out, and I will take a highlighter to them and highlight the key phrases. And then I will often use some of these key phrases in my ad copy so that I'm talking directly to them. So that's just one thing I do. I'm go with these reports. So yeah, this is Gale Business Center Demographics Now. Very big, a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, I could spend an entire class just talking about this, and I think I have before. This last one is really cool. It's cool or creepy depending on your outlook. I will say large corporations have had access to things like this for a very long time. So tools like this level the playing field for small businesses. So what we're going to do, and again, all of these you're going to have to log in with your library card, but that's free to get. There's tons of databases. So if you're a business to business type organization, you can target those here. But the vast majority of folks coming to something like this would be talking to individuals. So we're going to go ahead and click this 299 million individuals. We're going to avoid the quick search because this is useless to us. We're just going to focus on the advanced search. And here we can start getting more focused. So again, we're going to pick zip codes just like we did for the earlier one. So 98236, 98260, 98249, 98253. So that's Green Bank to Clinton. And then we'll do 101. I think that's Seattle. You can put as many or as few as you want in here. You could also put your address in and pick a radius around it, or specific street addresses, specific cities, or specific metro areas, whatever works best for you. And then I usually limit it to one person per household because, we only need to, if we're sending a physical mailer, which is what this is really for, you only need to send it to one person in the house. Estimated household income is a good one to put in just to stay a little focused, because again, if somebody's making $30,000 a year, they might not have a lot of disposable income to spend with you during the holidays. So we're going to focus on 50 to 150. You can pick as big of a range as you want, but for this example, we'll just go 50 to 150,000. These consumer snapshots are really tempting, but I avoid them because as soon as you start putting this in, it gives you more charts and just general data rather than a mailing address, which is what we're putting together. So we'll just stick to lifestyles here. This will be the last category we put in. And here we can start focusing in on some of those interests. So, for you guys, outdoor recreation is pretty important. You can just pick the category in general, or you can pick more specific ones like boating and sailing. Let's see, pets and animals. No. Do you see any other categories you might want to add?
Maybe photography, because people do take a lot of pictures of whales and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. So for these other categories up this way, I'll let you know, These are cumulative. It'll give you results for anybody falling into any of these categories. Once you
Okay.
start getting into lifestyles, these are exclusive. So the more categories you add, it'll start eliminating people. So this is really good. If you get too big of a list, maybe use some of these lifestyles to focus in more. But if you get too small of a list, take some of the lifestyles off.
Maybe
So-
do a, how about charitable donor? Would that be
Charitable
better
donors are a great
instead
one.
of boating and sailing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we have these two, photography and charitable donor. And
Sure.
then we're going to hit update count right here on this blue button. That gives us 1,833 people, not too shabby. The
Mhm.
emails you don't get access to through the library. That's something you would have to pay extra for, but this is good for like physical mailers if you want to reach people physically. So we've got that number. I'm going to pause the recording for a bit. So there's a lot of really great tools throughout the library. I would highly recommend taking time to poke around if you have the time, but also just asking a librarian. Up here in the help section under contact us, they actually have online chat that you can ask them anything when they're actually open. Right now it's a little late, so they're closed. And then they actually have a tool called Book a Librarian. So you could set the library you want, and pick your time, and you can tell them, hey, I want help with the business tools, and they'll pair you with someone who can walk you through some of these tools as well if you need a refresher. So yeah, I love our library, genuinely.
I love it because of the free printing.
That's also so helpful, especially
Get a
during
lot.
quarantine. I've just been like printing stuff, and then because I live right behind the Freeland Library, so I'll just walk over and grab my stuff. So yeah, our library is fantastic. Use them. So now that I've completely overwhelmed you with
Yes.
information. Oh yeah, last tool I'll show you is lynda.com. If you go to lynda.com, just directly like type that in, you have to pay for an account. But if you get to it through the library, I don't remember if they still have it on the business and finance page. They might have taken it off. Yeah. Okay. So it's not on the business and finance page, but it is under all resources. So they've got lynda.com is their blog post right here, but you can also just search for it at the top. Just need to give me a look. Oh, right. It's not named lynda.com anymore. What is it named? LinkedIn Learning. Oh, I have to set up an account, I guess, again. But basically, LinkedIn, the LinkedIn Learning now, I keep wanting to call it lynda.com. It is a huge database with resources on pretty much anything you could want to learn. I actually taught myself video editing using it, but they have a ton of really great classes on marketing as well, from very highly skilled professionals. And if you log in this way through the library, you get access to it all completely for free. So if you want further help after this class, this is a really great resource that I highly recommend. Okay. So I'll make sure I update this before I send out these slides. All right.
Oh, good. You're going to send us the note.
I'll send you all these slides so you don't have to try to read all of this.
I'm scribbling all over a piece of paper.
No, I'll email this as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So next up, now you know who you're talking to and what channels you're going to use to talk to them, hopefully. Now we'll look at some tactics specifically that I think are important for 2021. You should tie every piece of outreach together. So your website should work with your social media, should work with any mailers you do, any print ads. They should have a pretty coherent color scheme and fonts. You should be consistent everywhere so that whenever somebody sees you, wherever it may be, they recognize it as you and they don't have to start over from scratch going, where have I heard this organization before? Set yourself a reasonable plan with budget and time. I can give you so many ideas today and you can write them all down, but you know, you only have so much capacity of time you have available, funds you have available, especially with, you know, the Orca network, you only have so many volunteer hours, and you only have so many hours in your day. You have other stuff you have to do. So it's great to want to try all of the things, but make sure you're giving yourself a reasonable plan that you can actually achieve. It doesn't do any good to half start 10 different things when you could have fully done 2 things. End of the year, holiday time is a fantastic time to show customer appreciation, especially this year. I don't know if you guys have seen it at the Orca network, but I've seen it a lot at the other events I've been involved in. People are incredibly generous this year. They have been very supportive of local organizations. Their donations have been pretty good. And quite frankly, the businesses that are still around and organizations that are still around here either had a lot of reserves to run off of, or more likely they had a very supportive customer base that helped them through everything we're going through right now. So this is a great chance to just take a moment to thank them for it, whether you have special like member events or even just simply like a thank you post on social media or in your newsletter. It's the end of the year is a great time to just thank them for everything they've done for you. Shop local is always a great mood, but it's really, I think, going to be really important this year. I don't know how globally aware you are of everything going on in the world, but stuff's still kind of messed up. Shipping is still a mess. Supply lines are incredibly difficult. I was getting notices that it's like, hey, if you're going to buy books for anybody for gifts this year, order them like in September, because the supply lines are such a mess that if you try to get stuff closer to the holidays, it's just not going to happen. So the great counter to that, you know, we as small organizations have been dealing with combating online ordering spaces for a very long time. But this year is going to be really good for Shop Local because everything else is so behind and so messed up that, you know, those procrastinators, and they're always out there, are going to have no choice but to find something locally. So lean into that a bit. It's a great time to partner with other businesses. I'm going to get in more specific strategies in that in some subsequent slides, but you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. We should be working together with other businesses or organizations. You know, people, especially, you know, if we're going back to talking about Seattle, people don't come to Whidbey just to go to the Whale Center. You know, they might go to the Whale Center and then they'll go to dinner here, and they might hit, you know, a show over there, and they might buy some stuff in this shop. So it's a great way to really lean in with other people, and you can get some effective like bulk discounts that way. You can make a more effective day out if you're partnering with other people. It doesn't have to be all about you all the time. Host special events. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but you guys said you already have a bunch of events coming up, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But even for anybody who's watching this later, if you just have, you know, a little shop on Main Street, I have an entire slide on events, but even if it's just, you know, pictures with Santa, which happens everywhere, hot chocolate day, girls' night out, late night shopping, like anything like that, even little ones, but give people experiences, because especially this year, after the last, you know, 2 years we've been through, people are desperate to get out and do stuff. So even if your main focus in your business is selling stuff, obviously people are going to buy this holiday season, but experiences are really what people are looking for. So if you can find some way to tie what you do into an event, you're going to get a lot farther. It's been spreading, but there is this block of days at the end of November you could really lean into. It starts with Black Friday, and then the next day is Small Business Saturday, and then you have Cyber Monday, and then you have Giving Tuesday. Those all happen in very quick succession, so pretty much everybody is covered. Black Friday is obviously the big deals. There are some businesses on Whidbey that do Black Fridays. but those are really for the big box stores that have the margins for those gigantic deals. Around here, the days you're really going to want to lean into is Small Business Saturday. This was created in direct response to Black Friday, because again, that's more the big gigantic box stores. Small Business Saturday brings it back local. You're not necessarily expected to have crazy, insane deals. It's just letting people know, like, hey, come back and shop locally again. Cyber Monday is great for online sales. I know some of the people signed up for this workshop were doing more online kind of stuff. And then Giving Tuesday is for giving to charity. So we've got, 3 full days of pure consumerism ahead of time and leading into, oh yeah, maybe I should donate to some people too. So don't be afraid to capitalize on whatever of these days works for your type of organization or business, but that the marketing already exists out there, lean into it. And don't give it all away. I kind of typed into this with the Black Friday, but a lot of folks are really concerned around the holidays with giving the best deal. They think they have to give crazy discounts on everything, but this is supposed to be one of your biggest sales times of the year. If you discount everything heavily, then you're not actually making very much more money. So like I was saying earlier, in my experience around here, the folks are pretty generous this year and they really want to support their local favorites. So, it's really tempting. I do a lot with my business. I give people discounts and cuts and things when I don't need to. They were prepared to pay me my full worth. So obviously celebrate people and support them and thank them, but don't give in to that urge to discount everything heavily in order to get a sale, because you probably would have gotten the sale without giving everything away. So get into categories. Print, if you're doing anything print wise, rack cards on the ferry, big ads in papers or magazines or anything like that, start yesterday. It's kind of a joke, but not really. A lot of, especially more industry specific ads, like if you talk to the tourism department of when they start placing their holiday ads, both tourism and chambers, they usually either have the ad placed or have a calendar for like creating the ad back in like September. You cannot do print ads last minute. You can sort of locally, there's always opportunities, but if you're hitting up any of the bigger avenues, you need to get ahead of it way before it's ever actually Christmas time. But even if you're doing rack cards and things like that, again, supply lines are a mess. Paper is surprisingly one of the industries that's really impacted this year. So if you're printing anything on specialty paper, that might not be available or might have a really long time for a print shop to get their hands on it. So if you're doing anything print rise, postcards, rack cards, brochures, anything like that, that is the first thing you need to nail down because you are running out of time with that. Collective ad buys, that's something a few people have done in a couple different scenarios on the island, but I don't see it employed often enough. Obviously, most organizations and businesses around here cannot afford to buy an entire page in a magazine or a newspaper or anything like that. But if you can get with 5 other businesses on Whidbey Island, most advertising avenues, papers, magazines, anything like that, they will let you work something out that if you can sell all of those ad pages, all ad spaces, they will let you group everybody together. And then instead of, your one Whidbey ad on a page full of other garbage, we now have one big focused Whidbey Island page that's going to pack way more of a punch for anybody looking at that without costing you a ton of extra money. So again, this kind of ties back into work with the businesses around you. Find other people that are in magazines or newspapers that you are interested in going to and go in on it together. You're going to get more bang for your buck, and it's going to be a lot more effective for people seeing it. Quality photos are everything. I say this all the time, no matter what you're doing, but especially around the holidays. The quality of the picture in anything you're printing is so important. It cannot be something you snapped really quickly, especially the last few decades, Christmas is a very visual holiday. It's a lot about the aesthetic. So if you're taking your own pictures, make sure you take the time to really set up the shot really nicely. If you're buying a picture, make sure it actually fits with what you're talking about. There's so much generic pictures of presents and Christmas trees and all of snow in pretty much every picture that you just sort of gloss over it unless it's actually individualized and focused for you or your organization. Colorblind friendly. I put this up here because it's something that a lot of people don't think about, but Christmas especially is very egregious about this. About 5 to 10% of the population in the US is colorblind, and red-green colorblind is the most common type of colorblindness. Guess what the most common Christmas colors are? Red and green. So if you're making an ad, or even if it's just like a simple flyer you're handing out in your shop or putting up around town, maybe don't put red text on a green background or green text on a red background, because anybody who's colorblind is not going to be able to see it. Like I said, it seems really obvious, but it's just something most of us don't think about. It's like, oh yeah, the red and green, it's Christmas colors, but it's just a little extra touch to make it so you're not, make it more accessible for everybody equally. And then keep it simple and focused. A lot of organizations are guilty of trying to cram as much as they possibly can into as small of a space as they can, because you don't have a ton of money, you don't have a ton of time. But when you're cramming, 6 different messages on a business card sized ad, there's just so much going on there that no one's actually going to stop and look at it. It's overwhelming for the brain, and it's just really unappealing to look at. It's, you guys at the Whale Center, you may have, events and tours and books and donations and shirts, but if you're putting all 5 of those into one single ad, it's not going to be effective for any of those things. It would be far better to advertise, the gift shop. And then when people come in, oh, you also have events, or vice versa. You don't, one ad does not have to be all things for all people. Have you guys ever done any print advertising for holidays specifically?
I think so. I think Wendy has, and she's retired now. She was our manager, so but she's going to continue to help us kind of in the transition period.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. And I know like the chamber usually offers some opportunities. I don't know what their holiday plans are this year. I haven't talked to them yet.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's usually something.
Yeah. Because we usually do what we call our black and white sale, because, orcas are black and white, but we usually try to have a special that between on the Black Friday type thing. And I think that's our plan, to continue to do that. I think we're going to keep it called that, but we do that just to generate some sales. And we're really working on sprucing up our online presence as far as our online store. We're going to start getting better photos, like you said. Katie and I have been working on, we have a little setup with a backdrop and everything. So we're really going to try to, that's our goal, is to bring that all up, because we have we sell things to people all over the world, really.
Oh, for sure.
People will buy, from
definitely.
We have a lot of cool, unique items, and we have people that love what we are all about. So we just need to fine tune things is what we're trying to do. And that's why this appealed to me. I thought, well, I want to at least see if I could, and my brain is like ready to pop, but
I know, I'm so sorry.
Great. No.
That's great. The good thing is we record this and I put it up on the YouTube channel so you can watch it back if you need to, or again, you're welcome to reach out to me.
That's fascinating.
Good. All right. So next up, we'll talk about newsletters. Newsletters, whether this is print or email, you will know what's more effective for your group or business. But newsletters, as some people send them out weekly, some monthly, quarterly, but pretty much every group I'm signed up for their newsletter, I usually get one around the holidays. That does mean if you're sending out a newsletter, you're competing against literally everybody sending out a holiday newsletter. So make sure you're focused on it and it is impactful. So again, newsletters are a great way to just send out a customer appreciation. You can send out like your annual report of what you've been up to for the year and thank people for supporting you. You can send out gift guides. A lot of folks honestly don't know what to buy people. When I was researching for this workshop, I came across a lot of unique gift guides so like you could make up a gift guide for your coworker that you don't like, you never know what to buy for them, or a distant family relative, and pretty much you can come up with these scenarios of like, here's a person, here's a thing they might like. Flash sales are very popular for the newsletter. So like, hey, have that immediate call to action. 12 hours after this email goes out, the sale's going to be over. So you have to buy it right now. Secret sales are a great way, again, for customer appreciation. So you absolutely can do a sale only for people who are already signed up for your newsletter. And it's a way to reward people for already supporting you and regularly opening the newsletters. And whether that's giving them a special discount code that only exists in this newsletter, or a special flash sale that only exists for them and the only place you talk about it is in this newsletter. Don't think you have to offer everybody everything equally. If somebody's been supporting you and reading your newsletters for longer, it's absolutely okay to reward them differently. And then you could also do a unique countdown. So the 12 days of Christmas is very common, but you could also do like 4 weeks of family, or like weekly Christmas holiday magic, or think about it that way if you're the type to send out newsletters like more regularly than monthly or quarterly. So social media is fun. This is where you should really go all ham on the festive banners, images, and logos. If you've been to any of my other marketing classes or my social media classes, I talk about how you should almost never change your logo. Holidays are the exception, man. If you've got an orca in a Christmas hat, go ahead and put that as your logo for the month. Have fun with it. Swap out the O's in your logo for a snowflake, or if Halloween time, put a pumpkin in there, whatever. Just have fun with it. It's absolutely okay to do that. And it gets people in the festive mood. You should absolutely swap out the banner image at the top of your profile for the holidays. And then images you post. It is most of the year, a lot of those like hokey filters I roll my eyes at. But if you want to slap a snow filter on top of your picture of your gift shop, do it. It's fun. It's the holidays. Everybody's just looking for a break. Videos are always really important on social media, but I think they're especially important this year because, again, while things are opening up a bit more again, it's still not 100% safe. We do still need to be careful, and some people are still feeling the effects of isolation. So it's really nice to have something in a video to give people that face-to-face, like there's a person there and I can hear them and I can see them. Even if it's just like a short 3-minute video of like, hey, our black and white sale is coming up. Here's some of the cool items we have in the shop, and just kind of like pan or have people like playing with them in the frame. It doesn't matter. It could be a much longer video. It could just be something short. It could even just be you looking at the camera being like, from the Orca Network family to you, thank you sincerely for supporting us this year. Doesn't matter, but consider doing some sort of video, or get people to submit videos to you guys for the year and put those up on your page. But video is always really important, but I think this holiday season, it's really a time to have fun with video and give people that connection. Gift card promotions. Gift cards are genuinely a pretty good gift for people, especially for, those people that are hard to shop for. You don't know what to buy them, give them a gift card so they can get it for themselves. You can still support the local business while letting people pick out their own gifts. So a lot of people do go the gift route or gift card route. You can sell gift cards on your own website, but Facebook does actually have a gift card program. So you working with one of their gift card partners, and they've got a list on their website if you just Google Facebook gift card. And that if you go through that program, they will actually help you promote gift card sales on your Facebook page as well. So you don't have to send people elsewhere. focus in on those unique holiday value propositions I was, talking about earlier. How are you different than literally anywhere else they could shop for in the holidays? Do you have good gifts for those hard to shop for recipients? Is whatever you do a great holiday office gift? I was talking to one person who couldn't make it tonight, is Outside the Box Creatives, does like art kits and things like that. That is a fantastic promotion for a holiday. Get those gift boxes together for families that are coming into town and you don't know how to entertain them while they're visiting, or office parties, or pretty much anything like that. Is it something people could buy and do remotely? Because again, there's still a pandemic on, and some people aren't in a place where they can get together with their family still. But, say a winery could do a wine tasting sets, like you could do little smaller bottles of your wine in a nice, pretty gift box that you could buy for everybody in your family. And then everybody could log into a Zoom call and do the tasting together. Things like that, that are unique, that you can do that no one else can. Can you take the stress out of shopping? Grab bags are great for this. I'll talk about some of these ideas in store in the next slide, I think. But can you, small businesses, I was talking about this earlier, you have the opportunity this year to uniquely position yourself about avoiding shipping delays or supply line interruptions. When it gets closer to holidays, it's going to be hard to buy stuff online because who knows if it's going to get here on time. But you could just come down to your friendly neighborhood shop and you walk out the door with it ready to go that day. So think about how people shopping at your business is different than being able to get it literally anywhere else, and kind of lean into that on social media posts. And then, of course, this is a great time to do contests and giveaways. Have people have it kind of loosely tied to what you do as a business, but, have people make their own orca ornaments and put them on the tree and send pictures to you. Do caption contests, giveaways, where you could make up a nice, pretty gift box, and everybody who shares the posts and comments on it is going to be entered for a drawing for it. There's so many ideas out there for contests and giveaways that can really build engagement on your social media page, but also just have fun and show appreciation for the people who've been supporting you for a while. Your guys' social media is usually pretty active, right?
Yes, it is.
You have a lot going on.
Well, see, because you got Orca Network, and we're a division of Orca Network, is the Langley Center, and then you've got Branding Network, and the Sightings Network, and so there's a lot of activity, and we're just trying to herd it all in. And some of it applies to us, and some of it, it all is of interest to us, but it doesn't necessarily are in our wheelhouse to take care of that.
Right.
Then that's where we're trying to rein things in, and so it's effective, and so we're not stepping on each other or doubling it, but we tend to cross post a lot.
Yeah, cross posting is great though, because it helps everybody.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so a lot of these apply whether you're have a physical in-store or if you're just an online type of shop. But holiday season, you got to get those decorations and window displays up. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas if that's not your thing. It definitely can just be winter or New Year's or any of the winter holidays. You can lean into any of them, but decorate the shop, get those window displays up that are specifically Christmassy. Do a website update too. If you're an online kind of space, again, swap out the logo and the banner images for more, wintry looks. Decorate your website as much as you decorate your in-store. Offer gift wrapping. I know that's something a lot of businesses do anyway, but wrapping gifts is just one more stressor of the holiday, and some people are genuinely terrible at it. So if it's something you offer, just, hey, would you like us to wrap this for you? Whether, again, in person, or you could add a new checkbox on your website when people are checking it out. It might take a little bit more of your guys' time, but I can't imagine it would be too strenuous for you to wrap a gift and then put that in a box to ship to somebody. If you're doing anything, either just picking up in store or shipping, really lean into having a memorable unboxing experience. So I don't know if you've gotten sucked down this rabbit hole, but a really big online trend right now is unboxing. It's making videos, just opening up packages and showing what's in them. It's a huge trend. So if you can lean into that with your own products, have a sturdier packaging rather than super flimsy stuff. Make sure you have either interesting packaging, stickers for your organization, handwritten thank you cards, anything that, just that little extra touch that elevates it, that can really make it a special experience for whoever's getting that present. And it's just a moment of your time to, nicely arrange things in a box rather than just shove everything in there and get it out the door. Consider getting some limited edition holiday products, get some new stuffies that are only in for the holidays and they have to buy it for Christmas and then they're gone. People go crazy for limited edition stuff. I've watched there are people who've collected the Muscle Fest up in Coopville, their posters every single year. It's crazy. Consider putting together mystery boxes. I would heavily caution, some stores go this route in I'm going to sell my junk or the worst selling stuff in the store. I'm going to shove that into a box. I wouldn't recommend going that route. Genuinely have a mix of stuff in your store and have them at different prices. But mystery boxes are a lot of fun for people. Somebody in general would like what your store offers, but you don't know what to buy for them. Buy them a mystery box or buy yourself a mystery box. It's a great Christmas present. There's a bookstore in California where you can just tell them what kind of books that you like in the past, and they will ship you a book without telling you what it is. And it's a lot of fun. So you could do that in your shop too. Have mystery boxes at different price points, and don't let them know what's in it before they buy it. It's great for when you don't know what to do or when you're just trying to buy yourself a little gift. Consider having a special holiday return policy. A lot of stores have either we don't take returns at all, or a 30-day return policy, but that doesn't necessarily work for the holidays. Some people buy products. Some people do their Christmas shopping months in advance because they don't want to deal with the crowds. And so if they bought a present for somebody, in October, and then they give it to them in December, now that 30-day window is passed for the return policy without any fault of the person who actually got the item. And sometimes people give items that you don't like, and it sucks to be stuck with them. So, consider your current return policy, and if you need to make any changes for the holiday. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a refund. You could just have an exchange policy, but look at your policy that you have now and consider doing one special just for the holidays, just to, take one more stress out of the holiday shopping experience. Last minute deals are going to be huge for in-person shops this year because, again, there are always procrastinators and shipping is a mess this year. So if I'm a procrastinator and I can't get 2-day Amazon shipping because they're not doing that because the post office is backed up and I should have bought something in November in order to get it for Christmas, an in-store deal is going to look a lot better. So, and it's also a great way for you to move any excess product right before the holidays. So, have a Christmas Eve sale, sell to people who are really stuck. Offer alternatives to shipping. Obviously, if somebody, you were saying earlier, you have people from around the world that buy products from you, and you can't really offer that any alternative. But if somebody lives in Oak Harbor, is there a volunteer that maybe live up in that area and could do a drop somewhere closer to them? Could you take it up to a store in Coopville for them to pick up so that they don't have to come all the way down to Langley? And you don't have to go all the way to them, think about alternative ways. Or if the store is closed, is there another store in town they could go into to pick it up after hours, anything like that? Just think about ways that people can get your product without having to deal with the already overburdened post office. And consider shifting your hours. A lot of businesses around Whitby are one-person shops. And I will say this, quite frankly, a lot of businesses in Langley are open from like 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That doesn't work for anybody who's working, because those are hours that they're at work. So I'm not, obviously if you're a one-man shop, you can't work all of a sudden 18 hours. You just don't have the capacity for it. But maybe a couple of days, every Thursday or whatever, you're open from 1 to 8 rather than 11 to 5. Just consider shifting those hours in a way that you're still working the same amount of time and you're not completely overburdening yourself, but you're opening up yourself to people who aren't normally able to come in and shop with you. So events are a lot of fun, and there are so many happening around the holiday season. They don't have to be big events, obviously. Again, there's so many other events happening and you already have a bunch of stuff to do. But you can do smaller focused events like offer late night shopping. I think the gallery up in Coopville does this a couple times leading up to Christmas. They'll stay open until 8 or 9 p.m. So that people, again, who can't usually hit their hours can make it at some point. Consider having kids activities. This, again, is really going to depend on your staffing ability and your schedule. But I mean, imagine if you guys could scrounge up some extra volunteers at the Whale Center so that parents might have, like, they could sign up for a 2-hour window to like, hey, I'm going to drop my kids off at these kids activities and I'm going to go out and do their holiday shopping because I'm a single parent and I don't have nobody to watch them. And how am I going to get them gifts where they can't see what I'm buying them? Obviously, again, totally depends on your capability, but again, this might be a good partnering opportunity, maybe Readiness to Learn or the Kids Center or the Whitby Children's Theater. Maybe they could do something and partner with the businesses downtown. But yeah, kids are a huge part of the holidays, but it's also real hard to shop if you're a parent. Consider having free hot drinks. It's cold this time of year. People are very cold. So, it doesn't hurt to have a carafe of coffee or tea or hot apple cider or hot chocolate in the shop. And, it might not be able to be a self-service station like it was in the past, because again, there's still a pandemic happening, but it doesn't mean you couldn't have one behind the counter and pour them a glass for them. Super not super relevant to you guys because you already are a charity, but this is a great chance for businesses to partner with a charity. People are getting more and more socially conscious. The guilt for the excessive consumerism is growing quite high. So if people know a portion of their sales are going to support a local charity, it usually makes that decision on whether or not to buy the thing much easier. They like to support organizations as well. So if a portion of your sales are going to charity, if you have a product that you can match 1-for-1, like I think Tom's Shoes does this, where if you buy a pair of shoes, they give a pair of shoes. Restaurants could do this with meals. If there's any way you can, if you have the capacity and the budget to support charity in town, it's going to appeal to a lot of folks. And make sure you advertise it. And then consider participating in holiday markets. They pop up everywhere this time of year. They'll be in the Bayview Hall, in downtown, at some of the farms on the south end have started doing holiday markets. These are events that already exist to draw people to them. So why shouldn't you be there as well? Some of them have specific requirements, like they have to be like handmade goods and you might not qualify, but it doesn't hurt to get, one of these events where, again, they've already done the advertising and marketing. They are already drawing people there. Can you sway sending somebody down there with a table for those couple of hours that the event is happening so that you can tap into all those people as well? So piggyback on other people's events. Do you have any questions on the avenues we talked about before we move on? We're almost done.
Yeah, no, that all makes good sense to me.
Good. So I'll move us down here. Timelines are incredibly important. And again, printing should maybe have already started, but we're going on a realistic time that it is now October. And what do we do? So in October is really, you need to take the time to devise your detailed plan. What are you going to do? What do you need to make it happen? When do you need to order those things in order to get them there on time for it to happen? Even if you're not doing those things right now, knowing when it is going to happen and who is responsible will take a lot of the stress off once you're actually into the thick of these later things and you're already doing 12 different things. You don't have to think about it. It's already there. You just have to follow through. Make sure you create a budget. There's really no such thing as free advertising. It's going to cost you something, whether that is in more packaging, gift wrapping, the print ads, anything like that. It's going to cost you some money. How much money are you willing to spend and what categories do you want to put it towards? If you are doing any print ads in large papers, you need to place them now. Start reaching out to the organizations now to figure out if they have space and any openings for it. Get inspiration, come to classes like this, but also just start scoping out other businesses and what they do in the holidays, what they do for Christmas or New Year's, what else is going on. My constant joke in other classes is amateurs imitate, professionals steal. Find what works for other people and see what works for you. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. Make sure you prepare your inventory. All of those shipping delays I've been harping on, that's going to bring customers to your door. They're going to impact you too. So if you usually order more things to have in stock for the holidays, do it now because it's going to take longer to get it. I ordered a couch as a reward for filing my taxes back in March, and it is still not here. So be prepared. Any product you need, if you've been in business, you know what you usually order and when. Move it up by a few weeks. It's better for it to be taking up space somewhere in your business or in your garage than it is to not have it when you need it. I think a lot of businesses might have lower sales this year because they didn't prepare in advance. Order your holiday packaging, any, gift wrapping, new boxes, stuffing paper, anything like that. Order it now because again, it's going to be in big demand later and you don't want to get caught up in that trap. And then plan your Black Friday or Small Business Saturday or Cyber Monday sales and events now. That way, when it gets into November, you just have to execute it and do it. But I usually advertise things at least 3 weeks in advance. And 3 weeks in advance of Black Friday is literally the very beginning of November. And we are only 2 weeks away from November. How terrifying is that? I was in a meeting on Tuesday where we were talking about starting a new event and we want to do it in either April or March. And I was like, I hate to be that person, but that's 4 or 5 months away. Time goes by way too fast these days.
Mm-hmm.
In November, now is the time to decorate. I hate businesses that decorate now because as you can see from my background, I am a Halloween person. I do not decorate my Christmas before Halloween has happened. So November is the perfect time to decorate both, again, your storefront and your website, which is decorate your website. Make sure you plan your December events because again, when you're in the thick of it, you don't want to have to work out the plan. You've already got it in place so you can execute on it. And then November is when your Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, or Cyber Monday events have to happen. So it's November, time to do it. Then when you get into December, look at how successful your messaging has been so far and consider maybe a refresh, tweak things, especially if you're doing social media ads. Those can be constantly tweaked and adjusted. Don't think because you said it in November or whatever, it has to stay that way. You can adjust things as you go to make it more successful leading up to the actual end of December holidays. Any of December events you have lined up, make sure you execute on those. This is the time to finish those plans you made in October and November. And then once the holidays are over, now you actually need to look on what you did and plan for the future. What worked? What didn't work? What do you want to keep doing in the future? What do you want to toss out? A lot of businesses and organizations I work with, when they get done with a big season, be it the summer or the holidays, they get through it and they're just like, okay, now I can rest and relax and I don't have to think about it anymore. Well, then the problem is everything that's happened, the successes, the failures, they're pretty much gone from your brain by the time you get around to next year's holidays and have to start doing it all over again. So if you do it immediately after the holidays, it is fresh on your mind and you're more likely to reliably recount what it is you need to improve. So don't delay on that at all. Get it down as soon as possible once it's over. And then of course, prepare for New Year's. After New Year's, things pretty much die around Whidbey Island. Do you guys see that in your numbers as well? January is probably the quietest month on the island. January and February, just not much going on here. There's not a lot of visitors. So that's when you get your time to relax. But New Year's is that last big hurrah. So if you're doing anything for New Year's, make sure you're ready for it. So any questions on the schedule?
You got it all lined out there. I'm already going, oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, no, we have plans. We're just like I said, we're tightening we're getting our schedules and
trying to lay it all out.
Trying to do the best we can with, we've been successful, but we're just trying to figure out how we can improve and this is really helpful. So it gives me a lot to think about, which I will certainly share with my manager.
And honestly, this year is still such a weird year that, it's going to take really like this year and next year looking at it and going, okay, what do we need to adjust? Because a lot of things have changed for all of us in the last 2 years. It's given, this global pandemic has given us time to look and say, what do we really value? What do we really want to care about? So
right. And we actually had to close. We had to close for a couple months actually. Yeah. Because our classification and the COVID standards.
You were non-essential.
Exactly. And it was, that was tough.
Yeah.
But we're doing okay. We're doing
good.
Right. Doing good.
Good. So yeah, even if, this might be the best year you've ever had, it might be the worst. I genuinely can't predict it. We do summer street dances. So our summer street dances, the band's got the biggest tips they've ever gotten in the history of those events. And that we've been running that for 16 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are fun.
But is that the new norm? Or was it just because people didn't spend money in 2020 and they were desperate to go somewhere? We don't know. It's going to take another year to find out. A lot of things have shifted. It's going to take time to figure out what is a permanent shift and what is just still trying to survive in this chaotic and hectic world.
Exactly.
So giving yourself time and permission to, it doesn't have to be the best. It just has to be your best.
Right.
I got that from Great British Bake Off and it's stuck in my brain forever.
Yeah, I love that show.
So that's pretty much our whole run. Thank you for joining me. But if you have any questions, we do have half an hour. So I'm happy to answer any questions, or like I said, you're welcome to head out for the night. I will email these slides and the video will be up on YouTube as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be great, Sammy. I appreciate the information's really given me